Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm Caryn Lutz, CEO, founder, spiritual and transformational mindset life coach at On The Go Talent and Book Coach. I'm so glad you're here. Hi everyone. I wanted to dedicate this live to one of my dancer angels, Welton Kelly. And those who don't know who she is, she was the director of dance at Cedar Crest College up until she passed away this day 20 years ago. So crazy to even say that. And 20 years, but she still had a big impact on my life. So I have some good stories and I have some kind of heartbreaking stories as well. I'll never forget when I had class with Carol. So she was known for her modern style. Okay, I believe she was actually developing, the Welton technique. Like I said, this is a long time ago, so I recollect. And if anybody else is watching, any of my dancer friends, tune in. And I remember walking, without her saying a word. Like, this is how that she started her classes. And I was like, what in the world is going on? Like, how come we aren't communicating? Like, she put, and I remember the song because I still play it, Block, Rock, and Beat by the Chemical Brothers. And that was our warm-up. And I know I've done this for my kids too. When I was able to teach, dance across the country, I would do the same thing because it just made an impact. And it was just like grounding and feeling the earth and embodying so much stuff. And I remember her favorite word was oozing, ooze. And I'm like, what is ooze? Like, here's this competition dancer, coming into class like ballet, and then boom. And I was like, ooze and flow. And it is so what I needed. And I thank her for that. This is the sad part. And then we'll go into the rest. So, there's more sad parts, but I remember we were getting fitted for our show costumes, and she said something to me that really, it triggered me and it scarred me. At the time, I had already had body shaming, image issues going on, not eating, and being a dancer and spending 8 hours a day in front of a mirror could destroy you. And I remember her commenting and looking down, and I'm known for the booty, right? But I know that Joan Ellen and Beth Peters and Mandy were there, and they heard her say what she said to me. She said, oh, we have a wide one here. And she was referring to my booty. Well, I already had these issues, and needless to say, I thank them for being there, because I think they might have said something back to her, like, you can't say these things to girls. Like, we already have body image issues. And I took what she said to heart. That summer, I dropped like 15 pounds. I didn't eat. And then I came back to class that fall of my sophomore year. Monday morning, 8 a.m., modern class with Carol. And she looked at me and she said, where did you go, Caryn? And I was frozen. So you say to people, because it really could affect you. At that point, I was like 112 pounds soaking wet and still thinking I was large. But I want to thank her. She gave me a story. Here's a good one. I remember one time I was grocery shopping. I was in the parking lot, and I remember Carol drove this like little compact vehicle. And if anybody remembers what kind it is, drop it in the comments. I don't know, maybe it was the Subaru, I'm not sure. But I remember because, Carol was a black woman with long dreads. And I remember her driving, and I was sitting in the parking lot ready to go in. I'm thinking, there's Carol. She loved the grocery store. I do remember that. And she also had a group called the Peanut Gallery, which was composed of a lot of my college friends who were dance majors. So during this whole time, it was a few months before Carol had gone into the hospital. So she had breast cancer, and she had lupus and, a lot of health issues. But I remember I was having issues too, and it's like one of those things. And if Jamie's watching, I'll comment and tag you in this. And I thank you for being here with me, still to this day. I had a lump in my breast at like 20 years old, and it was concerning. So I remember it was kind of like a blessing at the time. Thank God nothing was wrong. But I had been sent to ultrasound at the hospital, and I knew Carol was there. And I knew it was my chance to see her before she passed away. And I don't know if you guys even knew that this even had happened, but Jamie and I were there, and I'm so grateful for that moment. And I brought Carol chocolate, and I came into her room, and she was like shocked to see me. But I knew I had to go see her. So a few months later, we were on spring break, 20 years to the date, and I was 21. And my grandmother actually took me to Atlantic City, and I remember it was pouring rain. And I came back, and at that point, I had to go on the desktop computer and internet and dial up to check my school email. And I remember getting the email that Carol had passed. Very, very upset about that. Because we were right in the middle of our choreography for our spring concert. I remember having many conversations with Carol in the dance studio alone. One of my favorite conversations, and this is just one of those things that's stuck with me forever, and I'll be posting about it. At the time, I actually won Ed McMahon's internet competition. I submitted a song out here on my own from the musical Fame, and I won, and they discontinued the contest. Long story short, Carol, I remember her saying, "Caryn, I hate that song, but I love the way you sing it." So she brilliantly incorporated that song. I sang it a cappella on stage in honor of her, like a month after her passing, to carry on her legacy. And something that came to me not too long ago, I remember, because Carol was like one of the few people that I got like close with, kind of, that had passed, and it really impacted me, truly. I know that she was working on her dissertation. In fact, I think it was something very similarly to the study that I ended up doing. I remember waking up at my parents' house a few months after she'd passed and had a vision of, I want to say, the Blessed Mother. It was the most colorful image I've ever had. And like I said, like, this just did all these things that happened to you. And carrying on her legacy. And ironically, I want to say like about a year and a half ago, It was the strangest dream, but she appeared to me. She appeared. And it was like in my grandmother's kitchen. Thanks for your patience. I keep losing reception. But as I was saying, and she came to me in my dream and she goes, I have been watching everything you have been doing, and was so proud of me. And it was like literally 30 seconds and then she disappeared. I also remember dedicating a song, and there's a picture, and it'll be later today, of me looking up at, and actually her wife, who was a college campus security police, was at my final show because I dedicated that song to her. So I know that Carol's watching, and I love her. So thank you all for being